Hey guys, welcome back to Missing Out Mondays, where we tell you what we're into. Start your week off right. I'm Tari J.
I'm Lex Michael. And hey, we're joined today by somebody who isn't one of us. Who's here? Tell everybody who you are.
I'm Brian Andries, and that was the best introduction I've ever experienced.
Our next guest needs an introduction and won't receive one.
It's funny because we rehearsed this a little bit before we started taping,
This
and
is
each
all-
time there's this
No.
really long pause between you saying your name and then saying my name.
This is all in the prompter. The prompter says long pause, it says pinter pause, it says do a pinter. And for weeks, I read that part out loud, and they kept hitting me, and I didn't know why. Turns out I'm not supposed to read do a pinter.
all those suits at the top. I hate that.
So Brian's here. Brian is going to be our guest for our main show tomorrow, but this isn't that show, so if you're looking for that, come back in 24 hours, kids. But in the meantime, we like some stuff. Some stuff. What do we like, guys? What are you feeling?
So missing out Mondays, right? So my thing this week, it's the holidays are coming up. Gift giving's a thing, and I finally figured out a really cool gift for my brother, and it's proto-illegal, very legal. I shouldn't even say that, but
it's super
legal.
Super
the
legal.
legalist.
It's so legal, I'm not allowed to talk about
That's
it.
right. Well, basically, the PlayStation Classic came out. It's the system, $100, tiny PlayStation with 20 games baked into it. PlayStation was the system that we played growing up. We love it. I told him not to buy it because I'm building him his own PlayStation Classic. And so I've been really digging deep into these computers called Raspberry Pis. And so there's Raspberry Pi 3 Plus that I bought. And I'm learning, and I have been learning about how to load up games to it, emulation stations, and basically get it to work. So you just plug it into a TV, and you can play all the games that you bought growing up. And so that's what I've been diving into this week. It's been hellish, horrific. It's been like 15 hours of work has gone into this thing, but it's been really fun. Just little basic programming that you have to do, like typing in certain commands, but it's pretty simple. But basically, I've loved it because not only am I learning something technical, but I'm going down nostalgia freeway with this thing because all these games I forgot that we played, I'm looking up and finding them. And I know that I'll be able to tailor something so specific to my brother that no other company could. Like, nobody's going to put Loaded or Project Overkill on their system because they're like these weird isometric games from 1996. And so I'm really looking forward to that. That's what I'm super into this week.
That's really sweet. Is your brother going to be spoiled for his gift when he listens to this?
Yes. Well, I'll do my best to divert him and distract him for days.
Just tell him to listen to you on the main show.
That's
and
right.
He'll be like, "What is Missing Out Monday?" You'd be like, "It's Satanism. Don't listen. They just worship the devil and eat babies. It's very offensive." The show they do Tuesday, far less offensive.
Well, luckily, I only have to do that for a day because that's Christmas Eve. That's pretty great. Yeah, and so I'll just be like, "Hey, look over here" for 24 hours. He's like, "No, I'm gonna listen to this on my phone." So,
well, actually, technically, you have to try and dodge that grenade for a week.
Yeah.
oh gosh,
comes out tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow?
Baby.
Oh, I
hell
thought of,
yeah.
Okay, quick turnaround on the edit. Then.
So just be like, don't listen to the Satan one. Listen to it'll put things in your head you don't want there.
That's right.
Just come back, listen to the good talk on Tuesday. You're only getting the offensive bullshit today.
It's nothing but Fall Out Boy. He hates Fall Out Boy. So I'll just, I'll play to my strengths. I have a deep knowledge of what my brother hates. So.
Ironically, that's what I'm into this week.
Hey.
No. Well, I'm into Fall Out Boy every week, baby. Thanks for the memories.
Oh, yes.
Lex, what are you into?
Oh dear. I actually left my apartment last night,
Wow.
and I went to a spot that I'd never checked out before called the Baked Potato.
Okay.
Which is on. Are you familiar with it?
No.
Okay.
I've seen a baked potato before.
It's not that well. you will see baked potatoes at the Baked Potato as well. It's like a jazz spot where you go, you have drinks, a little bit of food, and they play live jazz. So like last night we went. It's on Cahuenga. Maybe I just said that. I thought it. I don't know if I said it out loud. I do that sometimes.
Yeah.
You're like,
Happens to me all the
what?
time.
There are things you think and don't say out loud? What? Fuck you. So
Not my fault. I can read your thought bubbles.
So it's a cool, like a really cool spot. Last night I went and checked out the Jeff Lorber Trio, the Grammy-winning Jeff Lorber Trio, and it's a pretty small, intimate space, and you're kind of seated at tables, but it's kind of like theater style around a stage. But they've got full bar, and the whole menu is different varieties of baked potato. So we assume just because, like, the drinks are healthy pours, but they kind of come out in small glasses, which I guess is there to conserve table space. But we assumed, maybe that potatoes won't be that big, so we got a couple of them. And we got like this buffalo chicken one and like a marinated steak potato, and they come with side salads, and they bring them to the table. These things are massive. I mean, like, it wasn't a huge table we were at, but the 2 plates just of these giant potatoes took up the entire table, essentially. But
they call them jazz potatoes.
Yeah, but like insanely delicious. So much food. Like, we gorged ourselves on drinks and baked potatoes smothered in a bunch of other stuff, and then we like listened to live jazz for a couple of hours. Really, really cool. Like, they have stuff going on certainly more days a week than not, it looks like. But I would highly recommend anybody that's a fan of live music, jazz especially. I think the tickets we got were like $25 a piece. It's like the tickets work more like a cover, but then 2 drink minimum, et cetera, et cetera. But like, it's a really awesome night out, really intimate space to watch really great live music. So I highly recommend, if you're in the LA area and you've got some time and that sounds like it might be your jam, check that spot out. The music's great. The potatoes are great. The baked potato on Cahuenga.
Nice.
Yeah, that's cool because, there's no shortage of gastropubs in this town or like great places to eat, but live music, that's always a treat whenever you get to find something like that.
It's a great, like, it's an intimate, like, really great space for it. Yeah.
Sweet.
Nice. Yeah, that was one of my New Year's resolutions, was to see more live music. So it's nice to know that there's a good place that I can eat some potato.
Yeah, because we've been, my girlfriend and I, we've been trying to figure out, like, what are some kind of fun, more diverse date night type things we can do. Because, like, we're always so kind of bogged down in working or different kind of, like, real life stresses that we sometimes forget to make the time. Like, we live in LA. There is no shortage of shit to do here, and we don't do any of it because we get so caught up in other stuff. So, like, we've kind of made it a point, like, let's find other stuff we can go do. And one of the first things we both thought of was like, oh, let's go find some live, specifically jazz somewhere. So yeah, definitely, like, check that shit. I'll take you at some point and whatnot. Like, no, like, it's a cool, very cool spot, and it's close, super close to here.
Okay. All I pictured was you guys having a tape session there, like trying to set this up, and just jazz banging.
So loud, they're being very rude.
Can't they see what we're doing here?
We're doing art right now.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I went to go see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
I did too.
Everyone knows I love this movie because I tweeted about it. I wrote a dumb article about it. I am screaming from the heavens about how great it is. I will go as far as to say that I feel like it is my favorite Spider-Man thing ever made.
I don't know if I would go as far as to say Spider-Man thing of any kind, but I think I would definitely go as far as to say easily the best Spider-Man movie that anyone has made by a bunch.
Yeah.
Although I'm not one of the, you get watch, like, I'm gonna get death threats for this shit, but like, I am not one of these people who's like, Spider-Man 2 is still the best superhero movie of all time. Like, on paper it's all there, but I went back and watched them all again recently. Like, I don't know when the last time some of these folks watched it was, but like, a lot of it doesn't hold up super well.
Yeah, I'm sure rose-colored glasses on something like that.
But like the raw materials are all there, and like all the Doc Ock stuff still works like gangbusters. But like, the romance doesn't work. It works on paper, but it really doesn't. It doesn't work when it's up there.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, yeah.
I think Spider-Verse is, yes, I will plant a flag and say, yeah, I think Spider-Verse is definitely better than that.
Yeah, like I don't want to spoil anything about it because I really want you to go in as fresh as possible. I don't know if you've seen it yet, Brian.
I have not, no.
Well, as soon as you leave here, go to the theater, watch the movie, and then go on your Instagram and rant about it.
Okay.
I mean, I think that like for me personally, I think it like checked a lot of boxes in that like I grew up with Spider-Man. Like I grew up watching the animated series. I was a huge Spider-Man kid. Like
Yeah.
I had all the action figures and like so like Peter Parker was my definitive like superhero, being like this nerdy kid growing up trying to be like as cool as possible, but only really feeling like I could be the like coolest version of myself when I'm not around people. But then like for me, seeing this movie with Miles Morales and him having somewhat of a similar childhood to mine in that like and this isn't really a spoiler, in that like he's going to this like this school on the preppier side of town, which like when I was a kid, I was also bussed into the like, we're preparing you for Stanford University school.
Oh, yeah.
And like all my friends were going to school in our hometown. And so like being able to see myself in that character and how he's dealing with the world. And like the movie itself really focuses not just on like, he becomes Spider-Man, but like how to kind of muscle through not being up to snuff with the people around you, and like finding your own way and like dealing with failure and things of that sort, which I think that like is a really important thing for kids now to kind of start processing and dealing with, because a lot of our 3-act hero's journey stuff has like a failure built in, but ultimately like you always end up on top, which I think has built a weird sense of like accomplishment and entitlement to success in a lot of the people growing up. And so I think that like this idea that like you're not always going to be the best and you're not always going to succeed and you're not always going to be in the best position to do the right thing is a really cool theme.
Yeah, and that should be okay too. Yeah, that's the thing. The movie always ends when the story's over.
Right.
But that doesn't mean their lives are over too.
Yeah.
And fun spoiler from my brother's PlayStation: it's gonna have 2 Spider-Man games on it. So
Hell yeah.
hell yeah! The Neversoft ones.
I love, too, though, how insanely reverential it is to the source material. I love how the combination of different art styles that they throw together and the way they animate all of these different elements, it creates a feeling of reading a comic book that I think, although the Marvel movies have come a really long way as far as like really kind of recreating those big kind of like splash pages in live action, I don't think anything in live action can really, the way this movie did, capture the feel of like looking at these images on a page.
Yeah.
Also, like, it is so profoundly in love with comics and all eras of comics. The movie, this isn't a spoiler, it's the very first thing you see in the movie. It opens with the seal that says approved by the Comics Code Authority. And the second I saw that, my heart started singing a little bit. I felt warm and I was like, I'm in really good hands here, I think. And all of just like, because I've been like years and years ago, my good buddy James, who was like my comics friend growing up, finally, like, he poked me, and I finally read all of Ultimate Spider-Man. And the Ultimate Universe, which is where Miles came from, the Ultimate Universe was at a certain point, like, they grabbed, like, Mark Millar to write a couple of things. Like, he did X-Men, and then Bendis started doing Ultimate Spider-Man, and Millar did the Ultimates, which is kind of like the Avengers, but in this side universe, which is sort of like, here's pre-MCU, here's like our big blockbuster movie version of all of these characters that exist outside of its own universe, which, like comics do, ended up eventually getting folded into the main universe, blah, blah, blah. But in Bendis's Ultimate Spider-Man run, on a long enough timeline, eventually Peter Parker dies, and Miles Morales, who's just now coming into his abilities, Bendis created this character, steps up, becomes the new Ultimate Spider-Man, and since then has had his own ongoing title. I think, in terms of him having a solo book, I think I've read every issue of Miles Morales having a solo Spider-Man title. Like to this day, I'm like an issue or something behind. They just launched a new Miles Morales Spider-Man title. But getting to see so many of these things that I've been reading in comics, like, you know, recent history, but getting to see all of it translated is so insanely cool. The stuff that they do directly, the stuff that they kind of tweaked a little bit. But I love like getting to see the Prowler too on screen was like really exciting for me. And I didn't realize how excited I would be to see this like very recent era of comics history, this specific corner of that world adapted so faithfully and lovingly. But like watch every moment, right? Like the way they did Kingpin in this movie, I love. Like very different than the Vincent D'Onofrio Kingpin on the Daredevil series, which just recently ended. He is like very much like the comic books. He's this ridiculous, like implausibly large man.
Yes.
But he feels very much in this movie, and it's Liev Schreiber as Fisk. He feels very much like this kind of like thug, like a gangster, very much like a gangster who ended up kind of rising to this position of total prominence. But all of the different spider people, it's all like Spider Ham is in a movie now, and I find that so like fantastic and magical.
Yeah.
But like so much going on, insane number of little Easter eggy things.
I do have 2 questions, though.
Yes.
Is there any jazz? Is there any baked potatoes?
Sort of.
There might be some jazz. There are literally no baked potato.
I don't recall a baked potato.
No.
Well, maybe it's the Easter egg, or a baked potato, if you will.
Yes. In the background of almost every frame is like just a baked potato. Actually, from beginning to end, you see it get from a regular potato to a baked potato.
Wow.
Like at every like story beat, it's like first it's just to like pull it out of the ground. Then the next story beat, you see them like boiling it. Or no, how do you make baked potato?
Oh no, I think you baked them. Oh no! You gotta find the baked potato. They're already
No,
baked.
guys, I've been exposed. I don't know how baked potatoes work.
Oh no! Cheese it.
I do love cheese. It's terrible. I do though. I love how specific and esoteric a lot of the jokes and references are.
Yeah.
I would never want to spoil the post credits scene on this movie. It is one of the funniest things I've seen in a very long time because of how specific and esoteric it is. Like it really assumes you get, because like to find it as funny as I did, you have to understand what you're looking at. And I feel like the average moviegoer is not going to maybe they've seen memes, but they're not going to understand what specifically they're looking at.
Yeah, it's super. It's super layered in that like there are so many different threads you have to pull together in order for it to get the maximum impact. Like I think that you can passively be like, all right, a thing is happening. But I think like if you really like understand every intricate piece of it, then like you gut laugh because of how good it is.
Yeah. I had a few of those.
Oh yeah. I think that like the best part of it is how all of the humor aren't just like bits. They're not just jokes. They're all very character specific.
Yes.
And that's like what drives the whole movie is everything is very character oriented, character driven. Every decision that happens is because these characters have specific points of views, and that is what drives them to the next plot point. There's never a point where you're just like, and then this happens. It's because these characters feel a certain way or they have a certain relationship within the sphere of their world that leads them to do a certain thing.
Right. It's respecting that source material and elevating it versus, I mean, that's the age-old discussion about superhero films. If they're not good, it's usually because they disregard years and years of character development and stories that they can just heighten and add to. And it sounds like this post-credit scene is all about that.
It's so great.
Yeah.
It is so great. And come on, man, like not only do we have a Miles Morales movie now, but we have a Miles Morales movie that prominently features Spider-Gwen. Like that's just the kind of thing where like even 5 years ago, if you told me we were going to have that movie in just 5 short years, I'd be like, that'd be great, man. But like, we probably won't. Like, if we're really lucky, maybe one day when our generation is old and graying and shriveling up, maybe then we'll get our Miles Morales Spider-Gwen movie. But not only does this movie exist, apparently they're already in development on a sequel, which allegedly will prominently feature their relationship.
Yes.
So if you see Into the Spider-Verse and ship those two, and how could you not?
Which I do.
How could you not? That's very much something to look forward to. I think they're talking about maybe doing like an all-female spin-off of this as well. It's great. It's like the longer I saw it the other night, I saw it like maybe 3 nights ago, something like that. The longer I sit with it, I'm just like, I'm finding new things. I'm remembering new details, new layers about it that I'm absolutely deeply enamored of.
Yeah.
Like I walked out of the theater knowing I thought it was excellent, but not realizing kind of all the levels at which it kind of hit me and resonated. So yeah, I'm gonna be buying this. I'm gonna be buying this disc. Can you this thing will look so pretty in 4K?
Oh yeah.
It's a insanely gorgeous movie. I haven't seen an animated movie that I was this captivated by purely on an aesthetic level in a real long time.
Yeah. There are frames that I literally want to put on my wall. They're just so captivating, and they say so much just with the like visual storytelling.
Wow.
So good. All right. I've gushed enough. I think I'm going to bring this to an end. Brian, you're going to be joining us tomorrow.
That's right.
But if people are so anxious to talk to you about stuff, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Bandries. That's Bandries.
Awesome. Lex, oh my gosh, where can they find you?
I am on Twitter and Instagram at @TheLexMichael.
Nice. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at TariJ. TauriJay. And guys, if you want to tell us what you're into, all you have to do is you can go on iTunes, you can leave a rating and a review and be like, oh my gosh, guys, I'm super into this, 5 stars, which we'd super appreciate, because all the reviews and ratings help get us up in the ratings and helps other people find us and helps other people stop missing out on the things that we talk about. Also, if you want to give us a vocal shout out, you can hit up the Missing Out hotline, which is 978-MISS-OUT. You call that line, leave your name, what you're into, or just tell us that you love us. Or if that's too soon, tell us that you like us, but like not in that way. And then we will read it. And no, we won't read it. We'll just include it on the Missing Out Monday segment. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about the YouTube channel, What I've Learned. Brian's going to be laying down some sweet, sweet knowledge on us, and he's going to be sharing his love for this channel, bro.
Oh, a lot of health and nutrition talk.
Hell yeah.
But it's going to be fun, kids.
Fun.
Yeah.
We're going to learn you a thing or two about things you put in you.
Oh man. Yep. Good way to end this.
Yeah. We just deterred about 2/3
Well, that's
of
why
the
you told
audience.
them to do the rating first, so they already got that out of the way. Now we can show them who we really
they
are.
were so busy rating us, they weren't listening to that.
I mean, maybe it'll bring more people in. They'll be like, oh yeah, I wanted to hear all about what goes in you.
Strangely, that worked. Yeah, we should keep that going.
It's a producer scenario. We assumed it would tank us, and it was a wild success, and we don't know what to do now.
No.
All right, guys. Well, we will see you tomorrow. Bye. This is Missing Out. Tell us what you're missing out on. Tell you all the media. And then we will exceed ya.
What?
Expectations. We'll exceed expectations. That's how that works. Okay, bye.
Good save.